Padakamanam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamsam.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the 31st episode of Pariprashna. So, we continue our journey, systematic study of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, today we will be focusing on Canto 2, Chapter 2, titled The Lord in the Heart. So, this chapter, Sukadeva Goswami teaches us how to move from cosmic contemplation to the personal connection with the Lord within the heart. So let us unpack the various sections in this chapter, as always, by way of inquiring from His Holiness Bhakti Padma Saurabh Pracharak Swami Maharaj. So Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
So Maharaj, in this chapter, The Lord in the Heart, the second chapter of Canto 2, Sukadeva Goswami discusses from shlokas 2 to 7 the Karma Kanda section and he rejects it. So I'll just quote the second shloka and then ask my question. Shabdasya hi brahmana esha pantha yannamabhirdhyayati dhira parthaihi paribhramam statra na vindate rthan maya maye vasanaya shayanah. The way of presentation of the Vedic sounds is so bewildering that it directs the intelligence of the people to meaningless things like the heavenly kingdoms. The conditioned souls hover in dreams of such heavenly illusory pleasures, but actually they do not relish any tangible happiness in such places. So, Maharaj, what is Karma Kanda and why is that being rejected in this section as a way of achieving liberation through that?
So the question is, what should be a dying person do? A person who is about to die do. Then some sages may say that you should engage yourself in the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas.
Okay.
Because the Veda talks about karma. And practically Traigunya Vishaya Veda, 99.99% of the Veda is full of Karma Kanda. So doing sacrifice so that you can go to Swarga, do karma. So this is also said in the Vedas. It is not non-Vedic, because sometimes you may say the yogic practice may be non-Vedic, but karma is there in the Veda. It is a Vedic process. Then the answer is this: yes, karma is there in the Veda, but that is not the purpose of Veda. That had been the purpose of Veda, then why Krishna would have spoken this thing? Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nisraigunya Bhavarjuna. So now somebody may ask this question, what is this Karma Kanda? Now Karma Kanda is required for a person who wants to live a happy life in this world. Now, without the goal of attaining liberation, if somebody practices Karma Kanda with an objective of living happily in this world or go to heaven, that philosophy is known as Karma Mimamsa philosophy.
Okay.
So there are 6 darshanas, 6 philosophies in our Vedic system. The 6 systems of philosophy known as Shad Darshana. Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Purvimamsa, Uttarimamsa. So the Purvimamsakas, they are followers of Jaimini. The great sage Jaimini, he wrote more than 2000 sutras to establish how the goal of life is to enjoy. Enjoyment is the goal of life. And in this world you enjoy, and you do some tapasya also so that you can go to heaven and then enjoy. So in this way, he has set up this philosophy called Karma Mimamsa philosophy. So the Vedantists, they refute this philosophy by saying that enjoyment is not the goal of life, because enjoyment is not only temporary, it is also transient. So that is why the soul will not be satisfied with this material enjoyment. So that is the first opponent of our Vedantist. or those who are in the practice of bhakti, who are the first opponents for them are the karma mimamsa. Karma kanda is accepted only to the extent that bhakti is not covered, because it is required, because as long as your body is there, then you have to live in this world. So you use that aspect of the Veda by which you can maintain your body and then conduct your life. But that should not be the purpose. Like the purpose of getting into the college is to get out of the college. Even though the best of the college may be, it may be IIT. But what is the purpose of getting into IIT? It's to get out after 4 years. The same way, the purpose of getting into the train is to get out. The purpose of getting into this world is also to get out of this world. So the Karma Mimamsa philosophers, they don't talk about getting out of this world. They only talk about how to live happily in this world. So that is why the first opponents of us, those who are practitioners of bhakti, are the Karma Mimamsa philosophers. And that has to be Karma Mimamsa Khandana has to be done. That is why Krishna, when he just was about to speak about Karma Yoga, or which is known as Buddhi Yoga, there, before he speaks about Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, Krishna, he differentiates between Karma Kanda or the Karma Mimamsa and Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is Bhakti, actually, because the word Yoga is there. But the Karma Kanda section of the Veda, which somebody accepts it as a process to the attainment of heaven, that philosophy is those Karma Mimamsa philosophy. So Krishna refutes them by saying, Kamatmana Sargapara, Janma Karma Phalaprada, Kriya Vishesha Bhoda, Bhoga Ishwari Gadim Prati. So he has clearly told them as Vedavadarata Partha, Nana Sthiti Vadinaha. They argue that the goal of life is enjoyment, whether in this world or the next world. They are known as Vedavadarata. They are only practitioners of Veda for namesake, because you practice it without knowing its purpose. The purpose of Veda is Vedesa Sarveraha Vedya. To know Krishna through the Veda, that is the purpose. And again comes this point. If the purpose of Veda is to know Krishna, then why so much of Karma Kanda is there in the Veda? So that answer is given by Sri Padma, the only Acharya who has spoken to see Adhyatma within Karma. In every section of the Karma Kanda, in every words of the Karma Kanda, in every aspect of Karma Kanda, there is an underlying Adhyatma, spirituality. So that is why Sri Padma wrote a Vedantic commentary on the Karma Kanda section of Veda, Rig Veda. Madhvacharya's Rig Veda Bhashya. Just only give a commentary on few sections, so that people understand that the Karma Kanda, what is externally seen as Karma Kanda, actually it has Adhyatma hidden inside it. So this all has to be understood in this particular context.
Okay, nice. So you were quoting from chapter 2, Maharaj. So here is another shloka just before the Sthita Prajna section, 53rd verse, chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita. Shruti vipratipanna te yada sthasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhis tada yogam avapsyasi. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. So why are the Vedic instructions called flowery? Here Krishna is also saying that, and similarly in Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami is also saying that Vedic sounds is so bewildering. So why flowery words?
So it is flowery because there are certain flowers which are very beautiful to look at. But when you go near and then smell them, you'll die because it is poisonous. So Karmakanda section of the Vedas are talking about Vishaya Bhoga. The Vishaya Bhoga is nothing but Visha. So that is why Krishna compares the Karmakanda section of the Vedas to be Yayamam Pushpitam Vacham Brahmadanti Vipistitaha Pushpitam Vacham Brahmadanti Vipistitaha Vedarada Partha Nanandasti Vadinaha. And those who are situated in spiritual platform, they become callers to all. Yata teshuti pratipanna petas nischala. Their samadhavachala buddhi, because of being sthita prajna, they become callers to all the karma kanda section of Vedas. They become indifferent to that. They are not attracted to that. So that is what Krishna is telling.
Okay. So here in the translation of Shloka 2, which I quoted just a while ago, it is said the Vedic sounds is so bewildering that it directs the intelligence of the people to meaningless things like the heavenly kingdom. So pretty much everybody is aspiring for a better living lifestyle. They may go to different countries in order to pursue that. And here, Sukadeva Goswami is saying even heavenly enjoyment is meaningless. So why is material enjoyment, including the heavenly enjoyment, ultimately dissatisfying?
Because heavenly enjoyment or any enjoyment is material, and you are not material, you are spiritual. That is why it is meaningless. So why speculate? Some people may think that by going to America or going to some other country, I'll get a better life, better quality of life. So when they go there, they suffer a lot. And they don't know that how much suffering they have. Grass is greener on the other side of the field. It's very dangerous. People think they'll be happy going to America, but when they go there, they know. One family we shifted to America a couple of years back because they were so excited that for getting a job there, comfortable living, good salary there. Now they are planning to come back. I told, why you're planning to come back? So then the husband told me, probably I am very comfortable and very happy here. I'm got a good job, but my wife wants to come back. I told, why? He told me in India she had 3 servants, one to cook, one to wash vessels, one to clean the. Here she has to do everything, and that's why she wants to come back. So he was earning practically 5 times more than what he was getting here. And she told that you want to stay here. I cannot do all this work. Like you don't get labor there. You don't get.
Yes.
Everywhere you go, something other is there. So it's useless because it doesn't satisfy the soul. Any kind of life in this world is not really satisfying to the soul. So many people are committing suicide in America. If such a place where you can become very happy, then those who are already there should be very happy. Why they are not happy? Why they are committing suicide? Why they are getting frustrated? Why there are so many divorce rates? Why there is so much of crimes in New York? It's a wonderful place and heaven on earth. Then why all these things are there? So no place in the world you'll be spared by your karma. Wherever you go, you take your karma along with you.
Right.
Yeah.
And similarly, along the same lines, Maharaj, this illusory happiness, the mirage in the desert, why is everybody so enticed? Even intellectually, we may understand all these things, but still, it is quite enticing.
Yeah, it's a good point. Though intellectually you're convinced, but you don't have the power to act on that realization, act on that knowledge. It's because lack of being submerged in the Bhagavatam. When you submerge yourself, your consciousness in Bhagavatam, and by the mercy of Krishna, you get the power to understand this all thing is useless, it's all nonsense. That is a jnana vijnana sahitam yatyadva moksha supa. When you hear Bhagavatam in association of devotees, and all these crazy ideas that I'll become happy in this world, everything will go away.
Okay. So Maharaj, moving on to the next section, of course, Sukadeva Goswami very nicely, vividly describes the Paramatma features, but we'll revisit that later in our deep dive section. But he goes on to explain 2 kinds of yogis. So in English, they say different strokes for different folks. So it seems like there is one unattached yogi who is completely rid of desires. And there is the attached yogi who is still full of desires. So if somebody is attached, then the process recommended for them is the Virat Rupa meditation. What if somebody is advanced on the path of Ashtanga Yoga and has become unattached? Then it is recommended they meditate on the Paramatma. So, if you can elaborate on this, Maharaj, how depending on where an individual is, what is their consciousness like, what path they have to follow? So, how do we decide on these things?
Hmm. See, Sukadeva Goswami, now he talks about yoga practice. Now, yoga practice is primarily concentrating on Paramatma, and Paramatma is a spiritual form of Krishna. He is a spiritual universal form. And apart from that, there is another universal form called the material universal form, which was shown by Krishna to Arjuna. So, Krishna showed Arjuna the material universal form. Now, those who are not very advanced, means those who cannot accept that God has a spiritual form, or if at all there is any form, it should be material. If something is spiritual, it should be formless. If there's somebody stuck up with this consciousness that they're gross, because of gross ignorance, they think that if anything which has a form should be material, and God is spiritual, so he should not have form. So they are gross people. So for them, the gross materialistic universal form has been described before. Now, those who are advanced, means those who understand that it is not that every form is material. There are some forms which are spiritual. But at the same time, they are not come to the level of understanding that Bhagavan features the aspect of the absolute truth. So they are the people who meditate on the spiritual universal form, that is Paramatma.
Okay.
So there are four types of yogis who practice dharana. The first type of yogi meditates on prana and the mind without using the form of the Lord. This is also spoken in the Bhagavatam. The second type of yogi is one becomes purified by meditating on the universal form, this which has been described previously in the chapter. Then he meditates on the four-handed Paramatma feature of the Lord, Garbhodakshi Vishnu. Now, the third type, after meditating on the universal form, meditates on the Virata Rupa, the Lord in the heart with four forms. The fourth type is pure in heart already. So, the word Kechit, which has been used here, is actually referring to those who are beginning. That means those who from the beginning itself, they meditate on the Virata Rupa of the Lord, which is there in the heart itself. And that Lord is Pradesha Matram. This is called Pradesha, dimension of one Pradesha. The size of the thumb, sometimes you can describe the size of the thumb. One Pradesha, that is the size of the Lord. Shikha Evo Shat. And he has a form which is a 15 years old. And he is having a Kishori, Vayasi, 15-year-old form. All these things are described about Paramatma, which is there in the heart. So now, the description which is going to happen now regarding Paramatma is a fourth kind of yogi who, from the beginning itself, he accepts the Lord is there, who is transcendental, who has got a beautiful form, spiritual, and meditating on him. So this is a very advanced yogi. And those who are not very advanced, they are just thinking of the universal form of the Lord, which is material, which was shown by Krishna to Arjuna. When Arjuna said, I don't want to see, I'm too much, just take away this form. Though it is Adbhuta, but it's great, but I'm not interested in that. Then Krishna showed him the 400 form. Then he said, no, I want to still just want to see the 200 form. So when Krishna showed the 200 form, there Krishna clearly tells Arjuna that the form which you are seeing, Bhaktya Tunanya Shakya, Ahamayam Vidur So Arjuna, Jnatum Drishtum cha, Tattatera Pravishtum cha, Parantava. So only by Bhaktya to Aranyaya, there is no other process other than Bhakti to realize this 200 beautiful form of mind.
Okay. So Maharaj, not only the dharana ashraya for the beginning yogi and the advanced yogi are different, but even the way they live is also quite different. So here it is said
Yeah.
for the one who the advanced yogi who is living, there's like Yama to Pratyahara, then Labdhopashanti stage, then finally Shatchakra Yoga. When I was reading this section, just reading it was making me dizzy. Like it's so complicated and seems so difficult. And then whereas
Yeah.
for the Virat Rupa meditation, that is the beginning stage yogi, there is something called as Krama Mukti, and there are various stops before liberation. So if you can please elaborate a little bit on these two also.
See, there is something called Krama Mukti, means they go from one planet to other planet, one planet to other planet, and then go to the Brahmaloka. So when they go to Brahmaloka, so they stay with Brahma as long as Brahma lives the entire of his 100 years.
Okay.
And then if Brahma is a devotee, then they all go along with Brahma to the abode, to Krishna's abode. That is called Krama Mukti. That is one of the processes which is there. And other process is to directly go back home, back to Godhead. That process is actually pure devotional service. The practice of bhakti, the bhakti, one attains a consciousness where he becomes qualified to directly go back home, back to Godhead. So these two are the paths. The Krama Bhakti is also there, is also there.
Okay.
So whichever somebody wants, they can choose it.
Okay. So the Lord is right in the heart. Then how come in spite of them meditating on the heart, the Lord within the heart, why is it so complex, roundabout way, meditating and on the different features of the Lord, and then all these life airs that they have to move in a certain direction? Why is it so complicated?
Because they are complicated, they select the complicated process. If somebody is simple, they take the simple process. So depending on their consciousness, they take up the particular process. You have stairs, you have lift. So if you want to go by stairs, yeah, go by stairs. You want to go by lift, you go by lift. It's up to you. Depending on your desire, you will be choosing a particular process. Well, for every process, there is a particular kind of sacrifice you have to do. You have to, if you have to go in the lift, then you just have to have faith that just by pressing the button, you just depend on the person who made the lift and he'll take you. And if you say that, if you have some doubt, if you don't have any Shraddha, what's going to happen, if I get stuck up in the lift, like for example, a few days back, I was in Mangalore airport. So there was one family who also was in the same flight, and we got down together from the flight, entered the airport, and you had to go down. So there were stairs to go down, and next to the stairs, you have the escalator, which is going down. Now, in the family, husband, wife, and a small kid.
Okay.
So now, everybody is going in the escalator. The stairs are quite empty. But the wife was so much afraid of getting onto the escalator. And now the kid is telling, so many people are going. Why don't you have faith? No, she was telling, they were speaking in Kannada, so I could understand.
Yeah.
She says, no, this may fall down. People may fall down. She had no experience of maybe first time she's coming to the airport. So, and the boy was a young boy, maybe 3.5, 4-year-old boy. He was so happily joining along with me in the escalator. But the mother pulled him, started trashing him. I'm telling you, he'll fall down, you'll die. And the husband is lost. So ultimately, all the three walked down the stairs. Fine, they reached the same destination. But just have faith. Just have faith in what's happening. But no. Even though they are seeing, many people are going, but somehow because of lack of understanding, of lack of faith in certain things, no. Whatever I've been doing, whatever I saw before, that is the only thing which is going to work. I just give example just to make understand that in spite of the convenience is there, Oh, just stand, you're down.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to. I may fall down. So
Yeah.
these are the complexities to come. So Krishna is feeding an elephant, no, but still I have to work hard and earn money, and then only I can live. Elephant is earning, he's not earning a single paisa. It is having 100 kilos for the breakfast. And for your 2 chapatis, you're working hard. No, that's what it is. You don't have faith. Simplicity of the heart is not there. Your heart is too complex. That's the reason.
Okay. Yeah, that was funny. So why does Sukadeva Goswami circle back to Bhakti Yoga, Maharaj, after all these various options? He talks about Karma Kanda, rejects it, the beginning stage of Ashtanga Yogi, then advanced stage Ashtanga Yogi, then finally he says Bhakti Yoga is the best.
So that is what is the conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you want to explain something, you have to explain all the processes which are given in the Veda. And what is the thing which it concludes with? The conclusion is ataha, tasmat. Tasma sarvatmana rajan harir sarvatra sarvada totavyaha kitavistya smaratavyo bhagavan ridam. That is why the word tasmat is being used. Therefore, why Bhagavan sarvabhuteshu lakshitaha swatmanaha harihi drishyir buddhya adibhi drishta lakshanair anu maapikaihi. 35th verse talks about it. So he says the Lord is in the heart, everybody's heart is Paramatma. What he does, he actually is full of rasa. And he becomes very compassionate to that devotee who surrenders to him. So in this way, it is not that by yogi, he puts an effort to attain the Lord. The bhakta, for a bhakta, the Lord takes effort to attain the bhakta. So in this way, the Lord, Sarva Tasmat, Sarvatman Rajan Hari, Sarvatra Sarvada. It is like you don't have to go to Krishna. Krishna will come to the devotee, which is easy. For you to go to Krishna is difficult. Yeah. Krishna to come to is not. That is why Sarvatra Sarvada. So the sadhana, which is mentioned in the previous verses, and these verses which talks about the different kinds of sadhana, they are not very easy. So for that, tasmat, that means since there is no other process auspicious for a conditioned soul other than worship of the Lord, that is why you take up this process. That is why here Sukadeva Goswami further says, Nahi ato anyasya pantaha. Nahi ato anyaha shiva pantaha. 33rd verse. Vishataha samsutavidha vasudeva bhavati bhaktiyo yato bhavet. No other path to attain perfection is auspicious other than bhakti. Because it produces prema. That is why I accept bhakti. Because bhakti yoga, even then that, even if you consider the other result, by practice of yoga you can attain liberation, but not prema. So that is why, therefore, accept this process of bhakti, which should be performed at all places in all times, sarvatra sarvada, which can be performed at all places on all times. There is no restriction of time and place of performance of bhakti. That is why these two words are used in the 36th verse. Yeah, that's how he talks about bhakti.
Okay. So Maharaj, now that we got a really good overview of the entire chapter, the various sections, I would like to now move on to the second segment, Vichara Mantana. So today I thought we'll take a deep dive into the Paramatma aspect of the Lord. So very nicely, from shlokas 8 to 11, I'll read the translations. Sukadeva Goswami is describing the various features of Paramatma. So I'll just start quoting from 8th shloka. Others conceive of the personality of Godhead residing within the body in the region of the heart, and measuring only 8 inches, with 4 hands carrying a lotus, a wheel of a chariot, a conch shell, and a club, respectively. Ninth verse. His mouth expresses his happiness, his eyes spread like the petals of a lotus, and his garments, yellowish like the saffron of a kadamba flower, are bedecked with valuable jewels. His ornaments are all made of gold, set with jewels, and he wears a glowing headdress and earrings. Then, 10th verse. His lotus feet are placed over the whorls of the lotus like hearts of great mystics. On his chest is the Kaustuba jewel, engraved with a beautiful calf, and there are other jewels on his shoulders. His complete torso is garlanded with fresh flowers. 11th verse. He is well decorated with an ornamental wreath about his waist and rings studded with valuable jewels on his fingers. His leglets, his bangles, his oiled hair, curling with a bluish tint, and his beautiful smiling face are all very pleasing. So, Maharaj, how does the vivid description of Paramatma's form in these verses specifically help us break free from the impersonal misunderstanding and move on to the personal understanding of the Lord?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Last time I could not get.
Yes, Maharaj, I'll repeat the question. So, how does the vivid description of Paramatma's form in this chapter, specifically in the shlokas 8 to 11, how does this help us break free from the impersonal misunderstanding and get proper personal understanding of the Lord?
See, a person means he has qualities.
Mhm.
Person means he has qualities. So the description of the qualities refer to a person, and when you hear the qualities of the person, naturally you will get attracted to the person. So impersonal means that you have an idea that I cannot have a relationship with the person. That is called impersonal. Mm. Now, by hearing about the qualities of the person, you develop love for the person. You develop relationship with the person. That is why hearing about the qualities of the Lord, that is the first step in removing the impersonal understanding about the Lord, called Nirvisheshavadi. So, Sripad Ramanujacharya, his philosophy is known as Vishishta Advaita. The Lord is not different from you, but in a special way. What is the speciality of the Lord, which makes him special? What is the Visheshas of the Lord? So Vishesha means that there is something distinct feature. So if I speak about somebody, then how should I speak about that person? How is it distinct from the others?
Okay.
How do you distinguish one person from the other person by qualities? How do you distinguish one object and another object qualities? So there is commonness also, there is qualities also, which qualifies a person. So what qualifies God is a quality. And when you hear that quality, you will have a relationship with him. Then this way, the impersonal attitude towards God will be completely nullified.
Okay. So, Maharaj, I'm going to go a little bit on the tangent here because for my own personal understanding and for the audience also, we would like to know a little bit more about Paramatma. So, in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, shloka 23, Upadrashta, Anumanta cha, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwaraha, that particular shloka. So, just now we were talking about the qualities of Paramatma, and this particular shloka, Krishna talks about the functions of Paramatma also. That he is the witness, he is the permitter, he is the maintainer, and things like that. So, what is the relationship between free will and Paramatma's role as Anumanta, the permitter?
See, free will means what? Free will means that I choose to do something, but there are certain things, even though I choose to do, I cannot do it.
Okay.
So why is it so? because I am bound by my karma.
Mhm.
So understanding the free will means I am bound by karma. So if you are understanding that you are bound by karma, how can you be free? That's the question.
Yeah.
Once you talk about you are bound, other time you talk about you are free. How to understand bondage and free will? How can they coexist? Yes, they can coexist. That is like you have a pole and a cow is tied with a 5-meter rope
Mhm.
to the pole. Now tell me, is a cow bound or is it free?
It is free within that radius of the size of the rope.
That's called free will.
Okay.
So the free will is also a kind of bondage.
Okay.
Some people have more free will, some people are less free will. And that is also decided by your karma.
Mm.
So who decides and who oversees the karma? It is Krishna.
Oh.
Upadrashta Anumanta. Sees, and then Anumanta, he gives only Anumati to the extent you have your free will.
Okay.
Like in a company, there is a managing director who gives one of the sections, that general manager, he is free to use up to 1 crore rupees. Anything expenditure beyond that, he is supposed to come and take this thing. So, though he is free to use 1 crore rupees for any expenditure, but still that is been awarded. So even though he seems to be free, but that freedom is awarded. So actually bound. So in this way, both are there. Both can simultaneously exist. Free will and bondage. Both can exist simultaneously.
Okay. Very nice, very interesting. So in yet another shloka of Bhagavad Gita, again Paramatma feature is talked about, that is 15.15. सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविद् एव चाहम्. So the first two lines, सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च. So Krishna is saying that he is seated in everyone's heart and from him comes remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. So how does the Paramatma within actually help us remember Krishna, and why does he also allow us to forget him?
Because a desire. When you have a desire to enjoy, then Paramatma allows us to forget him.
Okay.
Because you cannot enjoy at the same time have the remembrance of Paramatma. It is like a cat. Now, some owner of the house, he has got a liter of milk. Now, the cat comes, is able to drink the milk. Then what does the cat do? It closes the eyes and drinks.
Yeah.
Because if the cat comes to know that the owner is in front, he cannot drink. So the owner sometimes would allow the cat to drink the milk. So this is how it is. So Krishna allows the conditioned souls to forget him, to satisfy their desire of enjoyment, because both cannot go together. Material enjoyment and the remembrance of Krishna cannot go together. Like you cannot eat something which you know which is meant for somebody else. You see a plate of nice, wonderful food stuff, and you go, I'm about to eat. At that time, somebody comes and says, "Hey, it's my plate. Will you eat it?" Even though you're hungry, it's very tasty, you will not.
Yes.
The same way, if you know everything belongs to Krishna, you'll not enjoy it. That you serve him. So for you to enjoy, you have to forget this God. That is why atheism. Atheism is not because they have a philosophy that shows there's no God. But they want to enjoy. For you to enjoy, there should be no rules and regulations, and there should be no understanding that everything belongs to God. So that is why they say no God. No God means no rules. No rules means you can enjoy whatever you want. So that's the reason atheistic philosophies come. Otherwise, when somebody snatches this enjoyment, you say, oh God, oh God. The same person who said no God, they say, oh God. So the core of atheism is sense enjoyment.
Very insightful, Maharaj. Excellent explanation. So now jumping to 18th chapter, 61st shloka, there is Ulleka of Paramatma feature. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridesh arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. So, Maharaj, if the Lord is present in the hearts of everybody, that means He is present in the hearts of the demons, terrorists, everyone. So, why do they not receive Paramatma's guidance in the same way as the devotees do?
See, the function of Paramatma is that of a police. I don't know how many of you have experienced, you must have seen, especially in Mumbai, it is very common. You're driving the car and you have the red signal there, and the whole road is empty, nobody is there. Nobody is there. And you stop the car, and you find no traffic, nothing is there, nobody is there. So let me break the signal. So you break the signal and go ahead. And then behind a tree, one police is hiding. And he goes, hey, stop, 2,000 rupees challan for breaking the signal. Then the person in the car would say that, hey, why you did not stop me? I told, I stopped you. There was a red signal there.
Okay.
So the Veda is a red signal. And Krishna is Paramatma hiding behind the tree.
Beautiful.
Like that.
Nice, very nice. So, Maharaj, Prabhupada writes in the purport for the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, Shloka 35, that by sincere devotional service, one can directly perceive the personality of Godhead even within the heart. So, if Bhakti grants direct access to Bhagavan, so what role does Paramatma play in a devotee's life? What is our proper understanding? Is he to be bypassed or embraced? What do we do?
See, for that you should know that Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, they're all one.
Okay.
You can see the verse which talks about Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan in the first canto, second chapter, text number 11. Vadanti tattvajasattvam jnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan is Shabde. So in that, in purport, Srila Prabhupada says, there is no qualitative difference between Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Therefore, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan are qualitatively one and the same. They are not three different people. They are one and the same.
Okay.
So that one person, he is, when you have partial realization of that one person, that is called Brahman realization. When you have further realization of the person, then it's called Paramatma realization. When you have complete realization of the person, it's called Bhagavan realization. So it is not that three different things.
Okay.
It is three different levels of realization.
Okay.
So for a devotee, when he sees when he sees the Brahman aspect of the absolute truth, he remembers Krishna's energy. He sees it as Krishna's energy. When he sees the Paramatma feature of the absolute truth being described, he sees that how Krishna is all pervading in this world and maintaining things as Paramatma. When he sees the absolute truth at the level of Bhagavan, he sees the person, Krishna is the one who I'm supposed to develop relationship with, to serve him. So for a devotee, there is no distinction between Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. There is only one person in different aspects.
Okay, got it. Very nice, Maharaj. So Maharaj, given that this Paramatma realization, Ashtanga Yoga, was described as such a complex and long, elongated process, how come Dhritarashtra, in spite of being so attached and so many anarthas, in 13th chapter, first canto, we saw that so quickly he attained, I don't know what he attained, I think liberation, but he followed the Ashtanga Yoga process.
Because he had offended the devotees. Since he has offended the devotees, he was not allowed. Bhakti Devi did not give the mercy to him to practice pure devotional service.
Okay. So Maharaj, some practical aspects related to Paramatma. So there is so much noise. If we go on the digital space online, there is so much bombarded with over information, bombardment. And then there is offline also. There is so much of noise. When I say noise, literally not noise, but quote unquote noise. And then internally also, there is so much of our own minds chatter. So how do we quieten all these types of noises so our heart becomes receptive to hear the guidance from Paramatma? He's there right within our heart, but how do we become more perceptive to his guidance?
So, Paramatma, how do you take guidance from Paramatma? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Jitatmana prasantasya Paramatma samahitaha. So, when you conquered your mind, that means you're constantly engaged in your Krishna conscious activities. Mind is controlled. At the time, the Paramatma guides you. And you know that every step I am taking is actually guided by Paramatma. And you can see that Krishna's hand in every thing happens in your life, whether good, bad, ugly. So that's how you relate to Paramatma, who is very close to your heart because you're your friend. In this way, you'll never ever be depressed. You'll never ever be unhappy. The moment you see Krishna's hand in everything which happens in your life. Because Krishna as your friend is there in your heart. And then whatever he does, when some very difficult situations come, the devotee understands this has come because of the will of the Lord. And then also he has a faith that he'll make you cross over that situation. So this is how you constantly talk to Krishna, by seeing that every situation which has come, it is only for your benefit. He's arranging everything like that.
So follow question to that, Maharaj. You said Jitatmana Prashantasya. So this Jitatmana, conquering the mind, is not a binary thing that I've completely conquered or not conquered. It's an ongoing process. So while we are going through this process of purification, how does one distinguish between the voice of Paramatma and voice of my own mind or ego?
So that is why Sadhu Sangha, Guru Sadhu Shastras are for that only, confirmation. And also the reading of scriptures. When you read the scriptures, then you can find in the scripture, when you read sincerely, that what you're thinking is in line with the scriptures or not. At the same time, confirming Guru and Sadhu. Guru Sadhu Shastra, or a cross-check for all things to see which is driven by the modes of nature, or is it driven by the by Paramatma.
So Maharaj, before moving on to the next section, this 8 inches long, is this physical dimension? How do we understand that Paramatma is?
No, it's not. It's not physical dimension. Just for you to for dharana.
Okay.
Dharana means to get a concept that he is 8. Pradesha. This is called Pradesha.
Okay. So Maharaj, now moving on to the Anushilana section, we would like some practical insights from you. For that, I would like to focus on the 3rd and the 4th verse of chapter 2. So I'll just chant the shlokas and then ask the question. अतः कविर्नामसु यावदर्थः स्याद् अप्रमत्तो व्यवसाय बुद्धिः सिद्धेन्यथार्थेन यतेत तत्र परिश्रमं तत्र समीक्षमाणः. For this reason, the enlightened person should endeavor only for the minimum necessities of life. While in the world of names, he should be intelligently fixed and never endeavor for unwanted things, being competent to perceive practically that all such endeavors are merely hard labor for nothing. The next shloka. Satyamshitau ki kim kashipoh prayashair baho swasiddhe hyupabarhanai kim satyanjalo kim purudhanna patriya digval kaladau sati kim dhukulaihi. When there are ample earthly flats to lie on, what is the necessity of cots and beds? When one can use his own arms, what is the necessity of a pillow? When one can use the palms of his hands, what is the necessity of varieties of utensils? When there is ample covering or the skins of trees, what is the necessity of clothing? I'll just chant off one more, a fifth shloka also. क्षीराणि किं पतिनशन्ति दिशन्ति भिक्षां नैवाङ्घ्रिपापरभृतशरितोऽप्यशुष्यन् रुद्धा गुहा किम् अजितोऽवतीनोपसन्नान् तस्मात् भजन्ति कवयो धनदुर्मदान्धान्. Are there no torn clothes lying on the common road? Do the trees which exist for maintaining others no longer give alms in charity? Do the rivers, being dried up, no longer supply water to the thirsty? Are the caves of the mountains now closed? Or above all, does the Almighty Lord not protect the fully surrendered souls? Why then do the learned sages go to flatter those who are intoxicated by hard earned wealth? So, such hard hitting shlokas exemplifying the simplicity and renunciation. First of all, how practical is it for urban sadhakas in the current times to follow these instructions, Maharaj?
So I don't know how practical is in the form which is being described, but the essential thing has to be understood.
Okay.
The essence is that you don't need anything other than bead bag. If you have something, you can use it in Krishna service. If you don't have that thing, still you can continue chanting and be happy. So that is the essence. What is the necessity? What is the necessity? What is the necessity? Actually, there is no necessity other than Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means the Bhagavatam and the chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's all. That is the only necessity. And how would you understand that I reached to the level of consciousness where this thing is not necessary? Even without that thing, you're quite happy. You have, well and good. Don't have, well and good. Hai to nahi to nahi hai. So if that is a consciousness, then you are practically applying all these principles. So I'll share my own experience. When I was working in the ship, then I had the Bhagavatam with me. Then I was in the Bhagavatam to carry everywhere was difficult for me, and there was no digital platform where to read Bhagavatam. So I had been to, my ship had been to America.
Okay.
Then I went to temple. So one devotee gifted me Bhagavatam.
Wow.
All 12 cantos in one book with all Prabhupada. Small, it was very small. He gifted me that. So then I started reading. So went on and on. And then it was one day when I was reading this verse. So Satyang Shipo Kim Gashipo Prayase Baho Sasiddhe Upavarhani Kim. Especially when I saw if you have arms, then Then why do you need a pillow? Then I was sitting in the bed and reading Bhagavatam, just in my cabin. And I saw the pillow. And I thought, yeah, it's not required. So I took the pillow and kept it out of my cabin. The steward came and he told, oh, you kept your pillow outside. Then I made him read this verse. He has to go on. Then he saw the verse. Then he read again. He read again. 3 times he read. He looked at me and told that, साहब, आपका जैसा हमको हमने कभी देखा नहीं. He took the pillow and left. Just out of this thing, I did. So from that day onwards, I don't use a pillow. If it is there, sometimes okay, but otherwise I never use a pillow. Hands are there, and I'm more comfortable with that. So you can practice depending on your this thing to try to get rid of certain things which you may think it is very useful, but they are not actually useful. Not exactly that you go on the road and see a tree bark and get the tree bark, throw out all your dhoti, kurta, sari, and then wearing the tree bark and come out. It's not like that. But you will say there is nothing required for you. It is there, fine. Not there, fine. That's the attitude we have to develop. So many things we think, oh, how can I live without this? You can still without it, no problem. So many people living without it. Some people say, oh, no AC. How can you live without AC? Okay, many people don't have AC, isn't it? You have AC in your country, in your consciousness, in your mind. It is there, not there. Like just now, when the power went off, few of them were roaring on the corridor. So I told, okay, now what is the problem? Open your windows and then wait for some time. Comes, doesn't come, comes. Everything will happen, don't worry. See, the sun will rise in the tomorrow morning. No, you don't have to worry about it. All things, the world will go on, even if you don't have something in your. So that is essentially, you have to maintain this attitude. Hai to hai, nahi to nahi hai. ठीक है, like that.
But Maharaj, is this, whatever you just now explained, is it equally apply for Grihasthas? Just last chapter we saw Kutumba Bharane Nava, they have to maintain the Kutumba. So is there any proper different perspective with which they have to see these verses?
Yeah, it's applicable more for them.
More, okay.
Because brahmacharis have nothing. Sannyasis have nothing. So they've already put into this state. It is meant for grihasthas, more meant for grihasthas.
Okay.
Like somebody may think, oh, how can I live without this? How can I live without that? Okay. There are so many people living without that. They're so special or what? That's the problem.
And how does one distinguish between essential and excess? This is essential versus this is excess for me, I need to get rid of it.
Yeah, if you think nothing is essential, then excess doesn't come into picture at all.
Oh. Okay.
There's only one thing which is essential. Chant Hare Krishna. That's all. That is the only thing which is essential.
Okay. So Maharaj, I would like for you to distinguish between forced poverty versus voluntary simplicity. Forced poverty because of karma, they are forced to be in a certain situation, but voluntarily being simple.
See, poverty and simplicity has nothing to do with each other. They're all states of mind. A person who is having 1,000 crore rupees is also in poverty because he thinks I'm a poor person. I don't know whether I revealed this thing to you or not. In initial days, when we started preaching in Bilwada, we had no money for Janmashtami festival. So one person told me, just go to meet this businessman. He's a very rich person. He'll sponsor the entire prasadam for Janmashtami. So I went there, and a religious person, so he welcomed me. He was talking so nicely. He offered his main seat of his business. I told him, you'll be seated wherever you are. And he gave a half an hour lecture on how everything Krishna only does. We are only nimittas, typical Marwadi style of giving pravachan. I was so happy that such nice people are there, and they're building temple will be very easy here. And then after some time, I told that we are organizing Janmashtami program here. I request you, why don't you sponsor the entire prasadam? It costs just 50,000 rupees. It's nothing for you. Then immediately start giving another pravachan.
Oh, okay.
The exactly opposite. Earlier he told everything is done by Krishna, everything that. Now he says, he starts speaking how his business is going in a tough time and how everything is going in losses. And then after 15-20 minutes of his speaking, his condition, then I felt so pity that I thought, I came to ask donation to him, let me give my donation to him. Somebody gave me 11,000 rupees. I thought, let me give 11,000 to him. Then he'll be happy and he'll get his food for tomorrow and he can feed his pet. And then I told exactly, what is your condition? Please tell. I was ready to give. Then he told Swamiji, kya bolu main? हमारे पास 1,000 करोड़ रुपए था, अभी खाली 500-600 करोड़ ही बाकी.
Oh my God.
Now tell me. So poverty is a state of mind.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, he thinks, how can I live without 1,000 crore rupees? I just cannot live. Only 500-600 crores are there. That's all. And what's going to happen? I felt really pity the way he was talking. So that's the problem. Forced poverty means that you think that I cannot live without it. That's called forced poverty. And simplicity, voluntary simplicity, is in spite of you having anything, you are engaging everything in Krishna service. That's called simplicity. Simplicity doesn't mean that you wear some torn clothes and go around. That's not called simplicity. Simplicity means that you engage everything in Krishna service. You use it in Krishna service.
Okay. So Maharaj, until now we were talking about things and external things, gross simplicity. What about emotional simplicity? There's so much going on in the space between the ears, in the mind, and plus verbal simplicity, being simple in our dealings, in our speech, in our thought.
Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita talks about austerity of mind, austerity of body, and after austerity of speech. That's called simplicity.
Okay.
Especially it comes down to serving. When you think yourself servant, you're simple. When you think you're master, then you're complicating yourself. So when you serve somebody by words, that's simplicity. You serve somebody by mind, it's simplicity. You serve somebody by body, that's called simplicity. So to be servant is the most simplest thing in this world.
Wow. Beautiful. Okay. Fantastic, Maharaj. On that note, we will move on to our last segment, Maharaj, Brahmastra. So the chapter 2 title is The Lord in the Heart. So my theme for Brahmastra is going to be Heart of a Monk. So we would like to know your heart a little bit through Brahmastra section. So there's not much logic or reasoning in these questions. Some are like hypothetical, poetic. So whatever comes to your mind, you can say, Maharaj. If you want to skip, you can skip also. So in English, there is a saying, the home is where the heart is. So what do you consider as your home? Where is your heart?
Wherever I get to serve Srila Prabhupada. I'm not attached to any temple or anywhere somebody gives some seva to serve Prabhupada.
Okay.
Nothing like mine.
Okay. Who do you call when your heart needs clarity?
Call Srimad Bhagavatam.
Wow. Nice. Okay. What is one sacred memory your heart always holds on to and revisits quite often?
My initial days in Krishna consciousness in Mayapur when I was in college, regularly visiting temple.
Can you repeat that, Maharaj? Your voice was kind of breaking. If you can just repeat.
When I was in college, I used to visit Mayapur temple quite often. Those are the days which I realized the most.
Nice, very nice. If your heart, you wanted to say something, Maharaj?
Nothing.
Okay. If your heart had a guest room, who would that guest room be reserved for?
My Guru Maharaj.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. If you had to donate one item from your heart's closet, what would it be and who do you donate it to?
Yeah, some shlokas to Krishna every day.
Beautiful, nice. Okay. What is the last honest confession your heart made to God?
Every day I do that.
Okay. Okay.
Not able to chant properly.
Hmm.
And that's the biggest confession I do every day.
Okay. Okay.
Others are quite okay, but this is the confession which I
Hmm.
do every day.
Okay. 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 Just what is the most recent thing your heart surrendered?
Yeah, recent thing. Yeah, nothing happens according to your wish, in spite of all your
Hmm.
endeavors to do something good.
Hmm. Nice realization.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the one attachment that took the longest time to leave your heart?
Yeah, eating sweets.
Oh,
Diabetes forced me to do that.
okay. If your heart had a guest list, who is always welcome into your heart unconditionally?
Anybody or everybody. There's no specific
Nice.
person.
Nice. Okay. What is more exhausting for the heart, expectation or comparison?
Neither I have any expectation or any comparison. Uh, but when uh, the devotees, a lot of expectation is there that they would do something nice for Prabhupada.
Mhm,
A lot of
mhm.
expectation of the devotees.
Okay, okay. Actually, this is nice, Maharaj, but the question intention was generally speaking, what is more exhausting for anybody's heart, expectation or comparison?
As for anybody,
Huh,
anybody.
huh.
Yeah, for anyone, the biggest problem is that you expect the person who is very close to you to behave nicely.
Mm, mm,
It never happens. And
mm.
that's one of the rasas because when somebody is close to you, they take it for granted. And that's another aspects of love. But
Okay.
generally, it doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
Got it. Okay. If your heart had a weather forecast, what would the forecast read today? Is it sunny? Is it foggy? Or does it call for a rain forecast? Your state of heart today?
Today is
Yeah.
gloomy.
Gloomy.
Because no big work except a meeting today in the evening.
Oh, okay. Nice. Okay. What is the one thing you wish the Lord did not see in your heart?
Yeah, he did not see that. I try to help everyone.
Mm, mm, okay.
Yeah,
Mm. Last one.
just a thought, that's all.
Yes, 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 yes. Last one, Maharaj. If the Lord in your heart wrote a review of the state of the purity or cleanliness of your heart, and if he had to rate your heart's cleanliness on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is like squeaky clean, it is very, very clean, and 1 is being very dirty, what rating do you think the Lord in the heart would give you?
He'll be totally confused.
Totally confused. Okay.
One day it will be 10, other day it will be 0 also.
Ah, okay. In that sense,
He'll be
okay.
totally confused.
Yeah, yeah, nice. All right, Maharaj. So the Lord may be confused, but definitely we are not confused in rating the kind of insightful feast you're giving us week after week in the form of Pariprashna discussions. Will definitely give you a 11 on 10. So thank you so much, Maharaj, for bringing the scriptures alive and making it so accessible for us. Especially this Canto 2 is quite technical, But in spite of that, you're giving such wonderful, appropriate examples that anybody can easily access to this wisdom. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
So Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we have discussed chapter 2 of Canto 2 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So I hope you relished it. So coming up next is chapter 3. So we will keep progressing through Canto 2. So we will catch you in the next episode. Until then, as always, stay inquisitive and stay Krishna conscious. We'll see you soon. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.